This is a little video to introduce you to the Paasche Extreme Air Transparent and Paasche Extreme Air Reducer, along with some Paasche Extreme Air paint. Now, I used to use all the other brands, and you know, people are up there saying that Wicked is some of the best for the all-around airbrush. Well, it's a decent paint, but since I've switched this, I've pretty much never bought another bottle of Wicked or Createx for that matter. I use these little cups here for my paint mixing. I buy them cheap. It's like $1 for 50 of them over at Walmart. They're side dish cups for your dinner. So I'm going to take a little bit of the paint here, and we're going to reduce this down so that it'll spray nicely through the Paasche Vision, which is a 0.2 needle, or even if you had the Talon that was modified to a 0.25, we'll get a real nice spray out of it. We're going to do about a 50-50 mix with the paint to reducer, and we're going to mix that up. I'm going to show you here how people say that it's the consistency of milk. Well, to me, milk looks like water with nothing more than white. But you can see how as I roll it around the cup, it still sticks to the side and it beads well. It's not streaming off the edge and really pulling back. And if it was over reduced, it would actually glide back down the side of the wall a little bit. This is a pretty decent mix for the 2.5, maybe even anything larger. So what I want to do is I want to break it down even more. I need to bring it down, oh, probably another third of what I already have in there. We're going to get it what I would consider, I guess, the consistency of about 2%. Now this is for spraying automotive stuff like that, because you're going to over reduce. You're going to get down to the point where you can spray it through the new Paasche Vision, and you know, you'll work at about probably 20-25 psi, you know, close to your object, and you feather it in with small dagger strokes. Now let's say if I would have actually over reduced this, which I can do, you know, oops, I slipped and I put too much in there. Now I'm to the consistency of actual water, we'll call it. So this is where you're so reduced that when you spray and you hit your button too hard, you get these little spider legs that come out. Actually, I'm probably right close to that at this point. It's hard to break this paint down too fast, so even little by little. But anyways, we're going to assume that I've got this over reduced. What you then do, because now you have too much water and not enough pigment, or too much reducer and not enough pigment, depending on what you're reducing your Paasche Extreme Air paints with, you're going to need some of the Extreme Transparent. What this will do is it looks white, but it's actually will dry clear, we'll call it. This will put body back into your paint that if you've over reduced and messed up, so that it has what it needs to adhere to the project without spewing out and making the little spider legs. And as you can see, it's turned to almost a slight gray, but it won't be that gray because you're already over reduced anyway. So as you're spraying out of a small tipped gun, it's going to be on the verge of being gray. And as you build up, it will still maintain black as the opacity gets built from spraying. But this will reduce the fact that you're going to have too many spiders or spider legs as you're blowing through too close, or too much air, too much paint as you do it, which you'll find it's a tricky thing to get past in the first place. But now you can see that as I roll it to the sides, it isn't seeping back down. It's staying nice and adhered to the walls of this cup, and that's what you really want, you know. And you want it to be as watery. Now you've seen in the beginning, I only used a tiny bit of paint. This is probably at this point, I don't know, 300-400 to 1 reduction. There's a lot of reducer and transparency in here. But this paint will spray on anything, including hard surfaces, without losing its actual pigment if you know how to build it up correctly and you work, you know, You work slow and maintain a steady stream to build from light to dark. You don't want to try to shoot everything, especially on hard surfaces like gas tanks and fenders and hoods. You don't want to try to shoot this stuff, you know, one shot. Ghost everything in and create layers of paint, not just let's get it done and shoot it. You're just not going to get the outcome of your project as well if you try to do something like that. But anyways, we'll put this to the side for now, and I want to go to, we'll just use red out of their many colors that they have, from their pearls to their opaques. They don't have any out of the bottle transparents, so you kind of have to make your own, which is nice because you get to control the amount of transparency that you make. And I love these bottles because they all come with a little marble inside to help you mix it up if they've been setting, which a lot of the other companies don't go that extra step and put that marble in there along with the twist top cap. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to put this in, and I don't know, there's what, 6 drops in there or so. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to go roughly about the same with a 50-50. And we're going to thin that down. Now we got a nice thin paint mixture here. And as you can see, it's already getting more transparent than it was when it was thicker, that's just the way it works. But we want to make this to a point where it's transparent with more of a translucency to it, so that when it goes on, it's not just spraying because it's been broke down and it's putting little dots in, like an old dot matrix printer or something. We want it to actually spray and be able to be built up in layers to show depth like normal transparencies would be out of the bottle. So we're going to take and we're going to turn on and add the transparency mix to our already reduced paint, and we'll mix this up. And as you'll see, it starts to turn a slight pinkish. It's just about 3 shades lower than what it was, which is fine because as you paint and those little dots build up on top of each other, it's going to go back to red slowly. But that's what transparencies do, they build slowly. And as you can see, it's adhering to the side of the cup. It's got a decent transparency. If I want to break it down even more, I'll add more of the transparent, and we can take this to almost a 50-50. Now by doing this, you're going to have to build a lot more than what I have in this cup. But as you can see, it's not really breaking down the color of the red. It's taking it a little more pink and it's adding body to it. Now you can see that it's really sticking to the side of the cup. So now that we've added this, we need to reduce it again, because the fact is we put more body, more pigment back into the paint. So it's not going to spray. So I'm going to add just a few drops. This is all guesswork. That's pretty much how it's going to be with you. Remember, every time that you create a paint, if you're not used to the paint, especially with reducing it, you're going to have to test it on something before you go right into your project. Make sure you have a piece of paper or a piece of metal or whatever next to you that you can test paint on before you just jump right in with any color that you've tried to reduce. But you can see I've over reduced it again, and it still has nice, it can still adhere to the side of the plastic. So that's, anyways, that's an introduction to the Extreme Air Transparent and their reducer along with their paints. For the most part, anything over a 0.30 needle, you can shoot these paints straight out of the bottle. I don't recommend it simply because you can get a little more bang for your buck by adding reducer and thinning it down a little bit, and you know, save yourself some money and some time and get a nice clean spray. Thank you.